Netanyahu has now proposed taking control of Gaza's border with Egypt. Now he's claiming that Israel must control Egypt's border in order to protect Israel and keep the country secure. And so during a press conference last Saturday, here is what Netanyahu said verbatim. This is a direct quote. The Philadelphia corridor, or to put it more correctly, the southern closing point of Gaza must be in our hands. It must be shut. It is clear that any other arrangement would not ensure the demilitarization that we seek. Now, if accomplished, such a move would mark a de facto reversal of Israel's 2005 withdrawal from Gaza, placing that enclave under exclusive Israeli control. Obviously, Israel controls its border with Gaza, and if Israel were to have its way, and if Netanyahu's proposal were to actually come to fruition, then Israel would have control over the Egyptian border with the Gaza Strip. They would have full control over the Gaza Strip, period. They would have even more control over who comes in, who goes out, how much humanitarian aid goes into the country. And I feel that that threat is also being used as a way to encourage Egypt to absorb Palestinian refugees. And this interview with David Frum really stood out to me because the way that he tries to frame this situation in regard to humanitarian aid and the lack thereof is like a way of putting like a pretty face on an effort to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. So let's take a look at what he had to say, and then I'll tell you what I mean.
There also are going to have to be, and I understand you've talked to John Bolton about this, there's going to have to be some kind of way that people in the Gaza Strip can exit to go find work in place and send remittances home. And one of the roles that Persian Gulf governments can have is that they can offer work permits to people willing to try their hands so that they can earn a living, because the aid is not going to flow the way it used to do. People are not going to have homes to go back to, or many people will not have homes to go back to, and the water systems are damaged, and the electricity grids are broken, and it will take a long time to restore them, and the resources for that will be coming from inside Gaza, not so much from the outside world anymore.
Now you tell me, in a situation in which Netanyahu and the Israeli government have full control over Gaza's borders, if Palestinians are leaving for work, you think they're gonna be allowed back in? I mean, the whole point is to level Gaza, which the IDF is doing a great job of, make it unlivable, and then push Palestinians to the Sinai desert. That is the whole point. That is what Netanyahu very clearly wants to do. And that is what the Israeli government, multiple officials within the government have been saying openly and publicly in Israeli press. This is disastrous, but Egypt isn't having it. Mustafa Bakri, a member of the Egyptian House of Representatives, denounced the idea as an attack on Egyptian sovereignty and a violation of the peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, and urged Cairo to wield its military might to prevent the scheme. So what are your thoughts, Cenk?
Well, to be fair, Netanyahu said that they must have room to breathe and room to work. And that's why they needed Gaza as a buffer, and then you got to push out. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Adolf Hitler. Does that make you uncomfortable? Because it's not me, it's Netanyahu saying he needs more room. And that's why he's going to push out all the Palestinians into Egypt, ethnically cleanse them. So you should be deeply uncomfortable that the Prime Minister of Israel is saying things that are incredibly similar to Adolf Hitler. Me pointing that out isn't the problem. Netanyahu doing it is the problem.
Can you guys imagine if the Mexican government said, listen, we're worried about our security, so we want to control the US border with Canada. We should have control over the US border with Canada. Like, that's insanity.
Yeah, and by the way, we need a little breathing room, so we're gonna take Texas. And so we're gonna drive, hey, why don't the other American states pick them up like they do with Israel right-wing government does? They go, why don't the other Arab nations just take them after we ethnically cleanse them? I mean, of course, not their homes, they'll be in refugee camps in the middle of a desert, but that they, we had to defend ourselves by doing ethnic cleansing and genocide.
And then they follow that up with, but they don't want these dirty Palestinians. I mean, just completely putting words in the mouths of Egyptian officials who, again, don't want to aid and abet the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from their land. But here we are. And by the way, this is what we as a country, the United States government, is providing support for. which is why we talk about this issue so often on the show. If we are funding and supporting this is on our government. And I am worried about the way that this appears on the international stage. It looks terrible. And we really have no leg to stand on in regard to humanitarian abuses in other countries when we are carrying out the support of Israel and their barbaric actions in the Gaza Strip.
So guys, lastly on this, I don't want to invalidate all the harm that has been done to Jews across the world throughout time. That is absolutely true. It definitely happened, and it continues to happen in places where they are minorities. There's no question about that. But at the same time, you don't get to say, because I have been victimized in the past, I get to do the same thing to others. And you're not allowed to criticize me because I've been a victim in the past. No, that's not how it works. I fight for you and I fight to protect you anywhere where you're being victimized, okay? Including October 7th. But you don't get to say no one is ever allowed to criticize us ever again because we were victimized in the past. Because guess what, I got news for you. Everyone's been victimized. Yes, the Jews way worse, right? But were the Armenians victimized? Yes, definitely. So no one is ever allowed to criticize what the government of Armenia does or what any Armenian does? That's insane. It's an insane standard, right? That's true of Arabs, the Palestinians, they've been victimized. I mean, massively victimized.
Right.
But everybody's allowed to call them terrorists 24/7, right? So no, I'm done with the double standards, and you can say anything you like and it doesn't matter because you've robbed every word of its meaning, so no one cares. So you call every one of your opponents anti-Semitic and blah libel and all that nonsense as you do the ethnic cleansing and the genocide. And guys, again, it is about the government of Israel. It is not about quote unquote Jews doing it. Half of Israel doesn't agree. A huge percentage of Jewish Americans don't agree. So don't make it about race and religion. Do not do the problems of the past. But Israel does not get a free pass on ethnic cleansing. And if they don't like that, I don't care at all. Stop the ethnic cleansing, stop the genocide, and then we can have a conversation.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a Young Turk.